Hello devs, Sid here, and I posted my first video on 5th of July of 2022, and since then I have realized that I never did an introduction video, so you guys could get to know me a little better and you would know who the advice is coming from, and you would get to know about my experience in the IT industry, my educational background, and the salaries that I have withdrawn from the experience that I have in this industry. I'm only going to reveal salaries up to 2022 because I don't feel right about it right now. And yeah, let's begin. So my full name is Siddharth Chaudhary. I'm 31 years old and I live in Howrah, West Bengal, which is in India. Most of my schooling has been in West Bengal, Howrah itself. I am Srijan Vidyalaya batch 2010 pass out, and in 11th standard and 12th standard I took computer science as the elective subject, and I scored 70% in 10th standard and 74% in 12th standard. And for my graduation degree, I pursued BSc Computer Science Honors in Calcutta University, and the college that I went to was THK Jain College, which is located in Kashipur, Kolkata. And that's where I gained the fundamentals of computer science from my courses. So the most fundamental subjects that I studied in computer science during my bachelor degree was automata theory, which helped me understand the basics of product design, where we define states as the states of the system that we are building, and for each arrow and the lines that we draw are the changes of states that the system goes through, and that determines what state the system will end up in. Now, other than that, I studied C and C++, as we all do, and I studied some basics of Visual Basic, but it did not stick with me, so it kind of got left there. And for my master's degree, I went to Bangalore, and I attended Acharya Institute of Management and Sciences, and I completed my MCA degree there. And in all the 3 years that I spent there, I had an average CGPA of 8.3, which roughly translated is 83% as an aggregate of the 3 years. It was semester wise, so 6 semesters I had to study there. So I pretty much stayed in my home and went to my school and came back, and the same thing carried on with my college, where I went to the college and came back to my home. But for my master's degree, I stayed in Bangalore in a boys hostel, and that was one of the best times I ever had in my life, where I got to experience the hostel life, and I had so much fun times there. And my career started in the 6th semester in a particular assignment, when we were asked to create a sample resume that we would submit to a potential employer, and our teachers would grade us on that resume. So while creating that resume, I found out that I don't have any hireable skills, and clearly C and C++ is not good enough to get hired in the job market that is today. So I spun up a course of PHP, and I invested 18 days into it, and that's when I learned the basics of web development, which was HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP. So that's when I leaned towards backend development, and I kind of understood the methodologies and the functions that we write in the backend to write scalable systems. And I had a couple friends who were studying Python or Java and etc. So I would trade ideas with them just to see what the best approaches of writing software is. Okay, so after I completed my master's degree, I moved into a one-room flat with 2 of my friends and started applying to companies left and right. And I got my first job at Samriddhi Web Technologies Limited, which is in my LinkedIn. You can find that. And that's when I started to write production code, where I built web applications in Laravel and simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So that job pretty much taught me about how other developers write code, because I did not write one from scratch. The project was already written and I had to do maintenance on it. So I kind of got to learn how other developers write code and how to inherit their writing styles and make sure that the code is consistent throughout the project. So after 6 months into the job, I shifted to Kormangla, Bangalore, and joined a company called Happy Perks Private Limited, which was a product-based company at the time. And they were working on a perks-related software where a manager could assign perks to certain employees in the form of movie tickets, coupons, or recharges, things like that. So I got to study Code Igniter and Laravel there, and that pretty much summed up my API writing journey in Happy Perks Private Limited, because the system that they built was front end and back end was connected through APIs, and I got to learn JWTs, bearer tokens, and pretty much Laravel Sanctum and stuff like that. So 6 months into that job, I shifted to BTM Layout Bangalore, And I joined a company called Marmeto, which was a Shopify agency and still is. And at the time, they were situated in Belandur, which was 8 kilometers away from my place of residence. So I had to travel back and forth for my office shifts. And that was in 2019. And that pretty much gave me my basics and fundamentals of Shopify APIs and how the Shopify ecosystem works. That company and the job experience there is pretty much why this channel even exists and lets me put out so many videos related to Shopify APIs and the apps development. So couple of my biggest clients in Marmeto was Shishi Tattva and Glowroad. And for the Shishi Tattva application, I was building for them a courier partner integration where they could integrate their Shopify orders with FedEx, DHL, Ecom Express, delivery, and courier partners like that. And pretty much that application was meant to pull orders from the Shopify admin and let the people at Shishi Tattva process those orders by placing AWV numbers on these courier partners. So that was around the time that COVID hit, and the demand for Shishi Tattva products went up like crazy, and every month 30,000 orders were placed on that store. So that pretty much taught me how to write scalable code. I shifted from REST API to GraphQL admin API to match the scalability requirements of Shishi Tattva. And that was a great learning curve because at the time that I wrote GraphQL APIs, there was no libraries officially from Shopify to support those operations. So I pretty much had to write one from scratch. And if you watch my previous videos on GraphQL API, you would see that I kind of write my own code. I don't follow any libraries or stuff like that. The other client, Glowroad, that I worked with, I helped them publish their application on the Shopify App Store called Glowroad Dropshipping. And that is a dropshipping app which any merchant can install into their store, import products into their store from Glowroad as a supplier, and get orders on it and earn commissions. That was the basic idea of it. But the reality kicked in because of the COVID pandemic. Dropshipping demand went up like crazy, and we had to deploy an application as quickly as possible. So in 15 days, I wrote the application, and it is now listed in the App Store. You can find that out. And the tech stack that I worked there was again Laravel, and I had a front end developer who was writing React.js for the front end, and I would write APIs for the front end to consume. So again, the scalability requirements for that application went up like crazy. And again, I had to shift from REST API to GraphQL API to match their scalability requirements. So that summarizes my time at Marmeto. So after the COVID pandemic settled, I shifted back to my hometown, Howrah, West Bengal, and joined a remote company called BizSpice Private Limited. And I got to handle the client that they were having, which was an educational platform, and it was leading in the tech industry as of right now. I can't name drop the client name because I think I have an NDA in place, so I'm not going to do that. But I got to experience Express.js development, which is why I can put Node.js and Express.js in my resume officially. And I got to experience AWS dashboards. I got to experience the Stripe API. I got to experience Bright Data and Proxy Rack APIs. And yeah, and basically the fundamentals of web scraping is also that I learned there. So after my time in BizSpice, now I'm a full-time freelancer and YouTube content creator, which is why I keep telling you to please support me on Patreon. The link is in the description down below. And subscribe to the channel. It's free, and your support means a lot to me because of those reasons. And that pretty much wraps up my career in IT industry. I have about 7 years or 8 years of experience, and I'm a Laravel and Node.js, Express.js, AWS, and Docker developer. So let's talk about the salaries that I withdrew from the companies that I worked at. And I won't be putting side by side in what company paid me how much. So I will break it down by the years. So 2017, the year that I started, my first salary was 6,000 rupees a month, which is 72,000 rupees a year. I know it's pretty low, but at the time I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment with 2 of my friends, and we were splitting the rent 3 ways, so I could afford it. Then in 2018, my salary went up to 10,000 rupees a month, which is about 1,20,000 a year. I was living in the same 1-room flat, so it was I saw that as an increment. So that was yeah, that was that. Around 2018, 2019, my salary went up to 13,500 a month, which is yearly 1,56,000 a year. I know, again, pretty low. But during this time, I was living in Kormangla, and I was living in a PG with 2 strangers because I had to go through that phase as well. and the rent there was quite manageable. It was 7,000 rupees. So I had left each month I would get 6,000 rupees, and my dinner and lunch were carried out by the PG, so I had no problem with it. So I pretty much lived that way. So in 2019, when I joined Marmeto, my salary went up to 23,000 rupees a month, which was yearly 2,56,000 rupees a year, close to that number. Just and that salary bump allowed me to move into the main city with three of my friends and get a 2 BHK flat to ourselves. And we could live in the main city and live the city life, as we call it. And in 2020 and 2021, my salary stayed the same way. And when I joined Dispice Private Limited, my salary went up to 4.8 lakh rupees a year, which is around 37,000 rupees a month. That is the last salary I can disclose, because my salary has changed quite a bit from that time. And maybe 2 years from now, a video that I will create, I will cover the salaries that I'm drawing right now in 2023. So I can't do that now, but yeah, that is the most information I'm comfortable giving out. Okay, so let's talk about my YouTube channel and what it's about. And pretty much my experience in my school days made me the person that I am today, where I believe in free knowledge and I make videos about the things that I learned in my career. So as we all know, in Indian exams, we sit in a linear pattern where every student has someone sitting in front of them and behind them. And the two friends that I got sitting in front of me and behind me were the third rankers and the first ranker of our class. So that pretty much guaranteed good scores throughout my school days. And the only thing that they asked in return was help in the English grammar exam. I don't know what it was about me during my school days, that whenever the day of English grammar exam came to be, I became the center of attention of the class, and some student in the corner of the class would signal me the question number, and I would signal them back the answer option. So that pretty much made me the person I am today, where I believe in free knowledge. I create videos about the things that I learned. I don't believe in competing, or I don't believe in holding information within me just to, screw somebody over. I will always create videos about the things that I learned, and I have big plans for the channel as well. Um, I do hope that this channel keeps growing at the rate that it is now, and soon you can expect tutorials about AWS, tutorials about Stripe API, and I am thinking about moving to Adonis.js, which is again a Node.js framework, but pretty much sophisticated when compared to Express.js. And I also do live streams twice a week or thrice a week, because given that I am a full-time freelancer now, I have the time in my hands to do that. And you can join those. Feel free to stop by and say hi if you're around during those times. You can join my Discord server, where I post updates there about when the next live stream is going to be. And yeah, that's about it. See you in the next one.